is Janna and I'm founder of 15 Days in Clay. 15 Days in Clay, I guess I probably should start at the beginning. So I am a practicing artist and set up my first business with the help of the Prince's Trust. And so I did that for maybe like 3-4 years full time. And then wanted to get a job that I guess was probably sort of more regular payment. And I literally fell into a job working in Cambridge for a charity teaching ceramics to adults with learning difficulties. So never done it before. And it was kind of sort of baptism of fire thrown in and, absolutely loved it. But I think what I realised was there was a wood section that made the extraordinary wooden sort of plaques and furniture. But the ceramics was just, I personally felt was just not of a very good standard. So I decided in a year we would be exhibiting and selling work, which is exactly what we did. And I soon sort of realised, most people, they go to college, uni, are able to access classes but don't get that support. So 15 days really is to enable individuals who don't get that opportunity to access ceramics, to be trained by professional artists and to become artists in their own right. So it's kind of sort of grown. Initially it was open just to people with learning difficulties. Now it's open to anybody that's got an interest with clay. Do a lot of work with people with dementia, carers, spinal injury, mental health, anybody at all. So I think it's about really just enabling people that don't get that opportunity to become artists. So that's why I set it up. We had to fight really hard to get 15 days established, because back in those days, most people went to day centres. We were very lucky after we had our first ever exhibition. The head of social services, I just badgered him to come and see the show every day. And he came, and we were one of the first day opportunities ever. He took a real risk on us to, commission an external group organisation, which he did. And, we've just flourished and blossomed. But we had to fight really hard to be recognised for what it was. So it wasn't just us sitting around playing with clay. This was serious ceramics. And, very much in the early days, I played the political tool where I would invite all the mayors to come and open our shows. So I would force them into that position of, seeing what we're doing, using that, to give us strength and a voice. So I think we've been very lucky over the years, after a lot of hard work, that we now have, we are respected for what we do. We're seen for, the professionalism that runs throughout, the fact that we do lots of shows as well, in the public domain. So I think that's a really, really important part. It's about getting the work out there. So we're very much about the ability, it's not the disability.
That's the reason why I wanted to join. A lady where I live, Heather, she said there's a group that does 15 days in clay. I said I'd like to join. From there on, I've met people who are like me, who can do things 15 days. I jumped for joy because I said, fantastic, I could do something with my hand and be creative. I really enjoyed the moment when I came in. And everybody is so helpful. The helpers were willing to help me and show me how to make things and create beautiful artwork. And you have to get your hands dirty and mold the clay into what you want to make. And then I didn't mind doing it. Then you have to dry it with the hairdryer. Of course, you have to tap it to mold it into shape, which Janna showed me, and Pam and the other lady, I can't remember. But I enjoy coming here because I'm with people. I know people think it's wrong that people with learning difficulties shouldn't do what we do. But we have rights like everybody else to be creative and go out in their environment. And I'm very angry. I got big angry because they put us down. And I think, no, we're good as anybody else. We'll be allowed to be creative and have time with my friends to make beautiful things.
That one there. There's two of them, you see. Done one of them
Yeah.
and painted it. And then you have to roll out the clay, cut a base out, the circle, then you cut strips, and then you build it. You build it up and up and up
All right.
like that. So you have to measure the width of the strips. You see how thin that is. See how thin it is.
Yeah.
That's how you got to do it. And then I did that bit on top, and then I just did how I think it should be done.
And what is your favourite one that you've made so far?
Well, it's called a bust, a lady's bust, but it's in an image of mine. I had to paint that and shimmer the colours so it looked natural, you know, because we put stuff on show. Well, when I first came here, I had problems with my circulation. So when I came here, Janna introduced me to clay, and that helped me to use rolling pins as sticks and help my hands. They like that.
Oh.
They were very clawed up, very tight.
Yeah.
I was sat at home and trying to. There was nothing else to do. So I came to, well, went to Holton first, and then I introduced me to clay, and then we moved here, and I'm still doing it today.
I think personally for me, be able to do more research into the benefits of clay. I would love to work with professionals, you know, doctors, physios, OTs. I see the benefits, but I would love to work and, you know, the benefits for people with dementia. So for me, that's a real passion. And I, you know, if any doctors or anybody who's out there, please get in touch with me because, you know, I've worked with some OTs when I worked with spinal injury units in Holton Lee. We had people coming in that were literally doing, you know, physio for an hour, smiling, and the benefits. And I had people there to say, right, this is benefit. So I would love to be able to pursue that. Julie's hands wouldn't, when she first came, were like this, literally. And from rolling, she's like this. So I think for your physical body, mental health, I mean, I've had people come with 3-to-1 support that then will come with no support. You know, people that didn't really talk that now talk. People with dementia that I've worked with, again, so they're there. You can just relate things to their life by working with clay. So I just see it all the time. And, you know, it really needs someone to rubber stamp it. And that's, for me, is a real driver as well, because I see, again, the benefits that it does to people. And I think, you know, this needs to be explored more. our props that are a bit of a mess. So you use these in the kiln to basically go on the shelves go on top of these. So yeah, you have just different castellated props is the correct terminology. So you'll see when we open up the kiln them in action. He's quite an interesting. So this is Rob. Rob builds, so uses moulds, but builds like house martins, those little balls of clay, and builds up. And then look, you get these just incredible textures that he does, very sort of quite coral like, and then we turn them into sculptures. But yeah, very clever. But yeah, you can just see, so see all like the little balls, he just sort of builds and creates sculptures. So we're constantly sort of chasing our tails for space. So it's like a constant, you bring in these when they're at the right point, and then when the kiln is on later, that will dry everything out. Then we can put bisque firing on. So
bits that stick out. Got it.
So this, the next firing we're doing is a glaze firing. So the glaze firing is where you basically put glaze on the top and then it goes in. So got matte glazes, shiny glazes, but it will also take it sort of up to, say, if we're doing a stoneware is like the highest firing. So you would do that for work that's going to go outside. So this is sort of a mid-range. We'll be going to about sort of 1120 for this firing. And then sort of biscuit firing, which is the first firing, will go up to 1,000 degrees. So then after you've biscuit fired, then you do the glaze. So if you see down here where pieces are white, so that's just been covered with a clear transparent glaze, and they will go in and then it will be shiny. So these are our kiln fairy and kiln god. Every kiln needs a kiln fairy and a kiln god. So these are our little effigies. And we always do a little prayer to the kiln gods before we fire. So this is one I prepared earlier. So this is all glaze firing. So this is ready to go in. The difference is with like a glaze firing, you can't have the work touching. But when it's a biscuit firing, the first you can stack. So yeah, this is also, you can see here, this is the glaze where it's all white. So we always do a little checky check. Check everyone's happy. So yeah, these are the stilts here, which obviously hold up the shelves. And then these are your elements in here. So these, so like it basically is a big oven. Heating up the kiln. And then at the back, which you can't really see, is like a thermocouple that comes out, which reads your temperature. So that is ready to go. And then it will come on tonight. And you have like your bung up here. So we open that up to let any moisture come out, because if you don't do that, then it rots your kiln. Use underglaze on bisque, on greenware. So greenware is basically something that hasn't been fired yet. So you can see here, this is all work ready to go in, because I find that you get actually a much better finish. Then we give the kiln, we do a little kiss. Happy firing. Yeah. There you go. And have a little sign. The kiln on.
Hi, I'm Kate, and I have been with Janna probably about 9 years. I am her assistant. If Janna's away, then I will step in for Janna. I haven't got her technical experience, but I know the guys, and I've been with her and the team for probably about 9 years.
Why did you join in the first place?
Now that's the story. When I was working for a local school as a governor, we used to go to meetings at the Civic Centre at Poole. And I would walk through the mayor's parlour, and there was this glass cabinet, and there was pots from Poole Pottery, and there was work that was in there that was really quite different. I can remember thinking, gosh, that work's very beautiful. Where's that come from? And then there was a pop-up shop, and there was work again in this window. And I kind of stopped and looked at it and thought, well, that's beautiful. That's the same work that was in the mayor's parlour. In the window was a heron. And I can remember saying to my husband, I'm going to buy the heron. So I went and bought this piece of work, and I now work alongside the chap that actually made that piece. So it was this whole kind of seeing the work, checking them out, realising that you could volunteer, realising that you could come and be part of it. And that was what happened to me. That's how I came to wash up on the shore of 15 Days in Clay. Volunteering, for me, it's 15. It's, you can volunteer in many forms and do many things. But for me, it would always be about the creative part of it. And I would say with 15, I can sit here and wax lyrical about it, but you experience 15. It's the relationships in the room. It's the community. It's the fact that, the client groups that we work are so diverse but so real and so authentic, and there is this total acceptance and tolerance of everybody and anybody, that there is a can-do attitude, that it is about ability, not disability. It's about this continued trying, striving, challenging what people think about what we do, and joyful. I would say it's joyful. It's a very, very special place. I think it's a very, very unique and very, very special, and very protective of each other. There's an awful lot of protective.
In a good way.
Oh, absolutely,
Very
absolutely.
good way.
I think that is something that you experience when you come in. That there is that everybody knows everybody, everybody accepts everybody. Janna has been with a lot of the guys for say 20 years, and will have been a constant in a lot of people's lives. And dare I say it, grown old with them. Janna, it's like following a comet. She is, incredibly creative. She, has an idea. There is no, well, it can't be done. It is like riding a comet. That would be the analogy. It's never a dull day. She's incredibly caring. She's incredibly talented. She, has this very, very unique mix of challenging people, but also being compassionate to know that, okay, this is how you have to coax it out of people. The therapeutic relationship and the working with clay, I would imagine quite a tough thing to balance. Whereas when you kind of work alongside Janna, you very much get the sense that for her, it's instinctual.
Would you say it's hard work? Working at 15 days.
Hard work,
Well, I've seen you guys lifting a lot for starters. I was very impressed with the tabletops. Would you say it's challenging?
Having worked in the NHS is challenging. It's, everything is relative. And I would say that, every job, everything has its challenges. But does that outweigh the benefits then? Yes, it does. Like, I wouldn't call it hard work as such. When you've seen and experienced other jobs that, you kind of, you get me. Oh, I would certainly recommend 15 days. If somebody said, are you looking for volunteers? Would you volunteer? I would say yes, that come along, experience us and see if it's a fit for you. For some people it isn't a fit, and that's okay. So you've just got to, what's the word? I think learning to live with not the chaos, that's the wrong word, but the fluidness of it, for some people potentially could be a challenge. But I would say if people were looking to volunteer then, and they wanted to do something creative and they wanted to work with a diverse group of people, then 15 days is come and try. You don't know until you know. I do like getting my hands dirty. I do like the feel of it and the whole spontaneousness of it, and the fact that if it goes wrong, you just break it up and start again. And I like the fact that you can spend hours working on a piece and you can put it into the kiln and it blows up. And if that isn't a big thing to learn about life, you can't be precious about these things. It's you hand it over, and what happens, because we spend our whole time thinking we can hold on to these things, and then bang, start again. And that's what matters.
Yeah.
Who is it that has the right to judge what is right and what is wrong? We lose that as we get old. This inner critic. Whereas I would say the guys are utterly fearless. And you learn such a lot about your own life by watching, why not put that colour with that? Why not stick that with that? Why not? And you have to celebrate it because, what's that saying? There's beauty in difference if you take out the judgment. And the one thing we as humans do is judge. Whereas the guys, they don't. They just, they are so refreshingly fabulous for that. When you watch Janna stack the kiln, because it has to be done, I think, by somebody that actually knows what they're doing, it's this beautiful balancing act of putting everything in, of getting the right flow so that everything cooks just to the right thing. But you don't want things touching. You need to make sure that you've got holes in the pieces. You need to make sure that the temperature comes up at the right time. So there's all these technicalities to it. But then there's always a kiss and a promise and a please, 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 and when you open it up and you look inside and you suddenly think, it is, a real hold on to your hat moment. What do I personally get out of 15 days in clay? Gosh, I would say a sense of belonging, a sense of acceptance, an appreciation of that there is chaos, carnage, but things happen, that you've got to allow the space for things to happen, that it isn't always about controlling things or perfectionism or things needing to be defined, that you come in here, you start the process and it becomes a freewheeling experience, but you always end up with something at the end of it that you're pleased with. And that, for me personally, I think is quite freeing and quite liberating to have that whole. So for me, it is, I think that state of flow, that being able to be part of a process, part of a wider community, but also, to accept that, you create the space, people will come, things will happen. I think we make magic. I could bottle this and I could flog it, I'd be a millionaire. It is, what's the word? It's fabulous. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Obviously something's gone wrong. So it was beeping saying error 1, which means something to do with power heat. So probably, hopefully, it's maybe just an element or something's just become loose. That would be the best case scenario. If something's basically melted, fused, or thermocouple as well. Thermocouple reads the temperature. So if something's happened to that, then that could be an issue. I'm hoping it's just maybe the elements come loose, and we can just pull it through, cut a bit off, and it'll be fine. So what we'll do is, so the temperature is 174, so it's too hot to open currently. So I'm probably going to have to come back tomorrow, empty it all out because it needs to be empty for the kiln repairman to get in. And then what I'm going to do is test all the elements to see if one has burnt out. So you can do that quite easily with little bits of paper, turn it on. And then if the paper burns, the element's working. If it doesn't, then that's bust. But that's just me troubleshooting before the people that know what they do are coming. So yes, let's hope. Mwah. Thank you. That it's nothing serious, but this was when we moved. We couldn't move our kiln. It was too corroded. When we got it, it was pretty corroded. So we just couldn't move it, sadly. So this is a new second-hand kiln. So yes, it's been a workhorse. So hopefully, tomorrow we will have clarity. And with the costs of everything rising, with clay, with power. You're looking at, I think when I first started, it was maybe about £2 something a bag, and it sort of can be 10 quid now. So it's, you know, these huge expenses, and then you look at firing a kiln, and, you know, that's just crackers money now. So I think, you know, we've been savvy. I chose to get a bigger kiln so we can get more in it to actually make it more cost effective as well. So, and that's kind of, you know, that's a risk in itself, but, you know, it's kind of paid off because you're constantly, you know, you recycle everything, you recycle the clay, everything. I'm quite tight as well. But, you know, it's like a well-oiled machine. You know, I think that's how, you know, the experience has come from all the years of doing it.
It is the passion for all of this. I mean, when I speak to the staff here, the artists, it's almost like they've picked up your drive, sort of thing, and you can sort of see something, and it's a great thing.
I think, thank you.
What is your passion that's driven you all of this time?
I guess probably it's, again, I suppose in some ways it stems from the kind of enabling people that, you know, it's that whole passion of, you know, I guess I found out when, you know, I was 40, when I was doing my MA, that I was dyslexic. And, you know, I always thought, you know, I always knew I thought in another way. And it's that whole thing of, you know, in the olden days when I was at school, you know, you would just, there was no understanding, and it was just like this one glove fits all. And I guess probably a lot of the drive is that I want to enable people to achieve. I don't look at people and think, oh, you have a disability. I look at people and, right, what's your ability? So I think, you know, in a world where I constantly see the guys fighting and being the underdog, you know, my passion is to do whatever I can. When they are in here, they shine. And that, I think what we've created here as well is like a big family. And, you know, the people I work with are the most joyous, wonderful, humbling, beautiful people you could ever work with. And I think there's a respect that we all have of each other, and a support and an encouragement. You know, if somebody comes in, is like, I can't do this, can't do that. Well, can't is a word we don't use, you know. And I think and my passion is clay. I love clay, you know, I feel clay, without sort of sounding too hippie, but I do. And there's nothing more magical than creating. You know, you can get this innate bag of nothing and turn it into something beautiful and wonderful. And I think that in itself, just the knock on is incredible, you know, and that's why I do it, because these guys need to be seen, need to be heard. They have voices and need to be treated with respect. And I think by doing what we do, that happens. Lockdown, same thing. I did sort of some virtual online teaching, went off and dropped off lots of like clay kits to people, because I think it's a really frightening time. I mean, for everybody, but it was like we didn't know if we were ever going to see the guys again or not. And then I went and did sort of in people's garages and in their homes in PPE with a 2-meter stick as my finger. And taught them there. So I think that was, you know, and I think what we all learned from that was just how resilient and incredible all the guys are that we work with. You know, it was, everyone came back. We had to, you know, change our studios at Halton Lee to meet the sort of criteria of the social distancing. You know, we had screens. We had one of the guys' dad made us all these screens. So, you know, and it was this whole, you know, system of temperature taking, sanitizing, but we survived it, you know, and I think that's a really key thing, that we've survived that. We're still here.
I've been coming to 15 days since just before COVID, but really after we came back from COVID, I guess, was when I really started getting involved. Before I was kind of as ill as I am now, I went to a clay group, just like a normal public group. Unfortunately, as my health declined and I needed to have carer support, I was kind of made to feel like I wasn't very welcome. A place came up here, and somebody who came to the group knew of me and put my name forward. 15 days is like the highlight of my week, really. It's my main social interaction with other people, and it's the only time I really get to be creative and kind of do what I want to do, because the rest of the week I've got a lot of hospital appointments. I can remember the first day I walked in, I was really intimidated because in my old group, anything that was kind of that size or bigger was deemed to be big and a large project. I walked in and everybody was making bird baths independently. Certainly learning how to make big structures and being more confident with my work has been fantastic. I'd never really been exposed to adults with learning disabilities before I came to 15 Days in Clay. For fear of saying and doing the wrong things, didn't really know how to talk to people. And being at 15 Days has been fantastic because I've had opportunity to make friends with people with all kinds of disabilities, and they are my friends now. And I feel a lot more confident sort of how to talk to somebody with a learning disability, other physical disabilities that are different to mine. Basically, they're normal people. Speak to them like a normal person. But it's just been fantastic to be around a group of people who are so happy and positive, and they have supported me through a lot of my health problems, and it's family. Yeah, over everything else, it's 15 days in the family. And I love everybody here, and I love coming here. I want to advocate for people who can't advocate for themselves. I'm lucky, although I'm disabled and have to have carers, I'm able to advocate for myself. There are quite a lot of vulnerable people that come to 15 Days, and they don't necessarily have family and people that can look after them and keep an eye on them. And I feel like we are that family and that structure. We miss each other when we're not here. We always celebrate birthdays, and we love our Christmas meal. And when somebody does something that's an achievement that's totally separate to 15 Days, we really celebrate that and support that. Kind of lose myself in the clay. I have a lot going on in my life around 15 Days, and I find that when I come here and work with clay, I'm just thinking about the clay. Clay has its own mind sometimes, and it's taught me patience. The kiln gods have their own way of working. You can put something perfect in the kiln when it comes out exploded, and there's nothing you can do about it. And it's made me let go and just enjoy the moment and the process of the making. If I get something out of it at the end, great. If I don't, it doesn't matter. I've enjoyed the making process. My best piece is my COVID head. During COVID, when we came back, Janna got us all to make these heads, and it was the first piece of sculptural work I'd ever done. And I was surprised how well it came out and how easy I found it. But it was also a really cathartic and emotional process for me, because we stamped them with words and phrases that we linked to COVID and our experience. And with mine, I kind of started on one side with the positive view of things, and as I worked around the back to the other side, it was the negative view of things. So depending on which way you look at the head, you get a different view of my experience. But at that point, I hadn't really talked through the pandemic with anyone, and I had to shield for 2 years. Coming to 15 Days was the only thing that I did. Otherwise, I was locked away at home, being protected, and it was quite traumatic because COVID could even now, could easily kill me. So coming to terms with that through that process of making my head was amazing. Really, really helpful. It ended up being a very powerful piece of work that I'm really proud of. Our hands glorify the clay. I think it's just the most fantastic way to sum up what we do.
I've been coming since I was about 8 years old with my nan.
Lucy's been with me since she was about 7, through the 6 weeks holidays here. Well, not here, but Pottery. And she's well away with it. Yeah, all been good.
And then since I've come out of school, done my GCSEs, my A-levels, I've kept it up more regularly, trying to attend every Wednesday during term time and obviously when they're open during some of the 6 weeks. I think just the community aspect of 15 Days in Clay, it's really a rewarding job to volunteer with such passionate individuals. Janna makes it all worthwhile. She's very encouraging and accommodating for everybody's needs. And just, it kind of gives like a family aspect. It's more than a club. It's more about kind of having a family that you can come to every Wednesday and sort of just relax and unwind. I've learned the very basics from the start. I made a owl and a hedgehog for my mum and my nan. I learned how to slip and score, which is where you get the clay, you score it with a knife, and then you add some like clay paste onto it, and you do that about 3 times on either side, and then you stick it together, and it helps basically act like a glue, and that's the foundations for most of our building work. Coming in, unwinding, kind of forgetting your troubles. I also like that it's very open-ended. You can pretty much make anything. We have books that you can look through if you're stuck for ideas, and you can just kind of make your vision come to life. I feel like it makes me more connected to nature, because obviously clay is an element that you can find in cliffs, I guess, clay cliffs. But I've definitely, when I've been on walks in nature, picked up some clay. And then when I'm making the clay, I quite like to get stuck in, hands-on, and actually it's quite good for your skin because you get like clay masks and clay mud. So although we're building, it's kind of good for your skin as well. So there's multiple benefits to it. When it doesn't cooperate, that's not always nice either. But again, you're the one moulding the clay. The clay doesn't have a mind of its own, even though sometimes you think it does. But you're the one moulding the clay, so it's all down to you, really. I think my best piece was an owl I made years ago for my nan. I was so young when I did it, but it turned out perfectly with the primary colours of red, yellow and blue, and it was just glued perfectly, and my nan's kept it ever since. It didn't crack, and I think it was my first piece of work, so it kind of started the journey off for me with clay. The team is incredible here. We're so connected, like I said, we're like a family. Janna really made this happen. She had 15 days to set it up because that's the amount of funding she had, only for 15 days, but she's managed to keep it going. And I think that's all down to the passionate artists as well who are here. But again, Janna encourages them to be passionate, and they've made some fantastic pieces over the years. I've been privileged to do a exhibition at the Lighthouse in Poole. I managed to go there and we got to show off our work there, which was really, really inspirational. And I just think, again, it's more than a community. It gives these vulnerable adults a safe space to be in. I look forward to coming when I can make it. I always try, if there's something coming up on a Wednesday, I try to say, no, I'm going to volunteering. But it's more than volunteering for me. It's not just, oh, it's a chore, it's a job. It's definitely not. It's when you can see the vulnerable adults thriving in what they're building, and you can see that they're acknowledging it, they're using the skills you've taught them, and you see the final product, it makes it all worthwhile. And as I said, it's more than a community, it's a family. And when I'm not here sometimes and I come back, the greetings you get are insane when you come back. Everyone's so welcoming of each other, and it's really non-judgmental, which is really, really nice. Especially as, obviously I've been coming to clay for about 11 years, but I have ADHD myself, so in some aspects I can be vulnerable. I think even after, because I only got diagnosed when I was 18, I'm 19 now. I had so many years undiagnosed in this club, but as soon as I got the diagnosis, nobody viewed me differently. They all accepted me for me, and vice versa. All the volunteers accept everyone who comes to this club, and anyone new who comes in, same thing. It's just really, really a really lovely place to be.
Must be coming on for at least 8 years now. When I first started, my pieces weren't that great. They were simple little stuff I did start with, but now I'm actually, Janna's able to just leave me on my own and to carry on with I know what to do. I'm now making more complex pieces. I've made a pagoda for my garden. I've made a statue for my mother. I made an angel statue. I'm making a bird house at the moment. I made a bird bed table. I've made dogs. I've made mushrooms. Anything challenging. I like to give myself a challenge, so it gets the old brain ticking. I used to work about 13 years ago, and I used to work for social services, and they're the ones that told me to give up work because they could see it was affecting me. So I was taking minutes, my hands were shaking, and I had an accident as well. I had a major accident. Yeah. You won't be able to get me outside of this step. I can't. I've got to be on level servicing. I've got a lot of problems. A lot of invisible problems, so yeah. I feel it's going to be advantageous for me for the future because I can feel my way because, as I said before, I'm partially sighted and my eyesight's getting worse and I can feel the clay and I know what to do. So it's I like all the moulding and the messy bit I'm okay with. I'm okay with. It takes some getting used to. But the way you mould it feels like it's therapeutic. It's very therapeutic for me. And I like trying to work out how to put things together. It's been difficult with the piece I'm doing at the moment. So yeah. Sometimes I can get a little bit messy. I don't like it when it gets underneath my nails. I'm not vain or anything, but I've now recently grown my nails. I always used to bite them, but because I've been growing them, it's getting all stuck underneath my nails. But no, that's the only thing really. Besides that, I'm fine working with it. Really, I'm quite easygoing. I don't fault a lot of things. I was recommended by my therapist to do something to keep me active, to take my mind off things that I was going through at the time, get rid of the depression and mental health issues I had. The whole team was so friendly. Janna and Kate and all the helpers, I couldn't commend them enough. They have really helped me. It's like when I'm at home, I'm a different person altogether. Then when I come here, I am so much livelier and I feel so much happier. Feels like I'm doing something worthwhile. I'm hoping to actually start a project. I saw this charity and it was for disabled dogs. And I love dogs. And I've already emailed them. And I'm going to make some pieces. I like to give to people that need help. I know people say that I need a lot of help. I do, but I like to give it back in return. I'm just generally easygoing. It means a lifeline. It means friends. It means I've got something I can rely on to help me. They've helped me tremendously. I probably will cry when I say this, but I lost my husband 2 years ago.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
And I lost my father at Christmas. And it's been really hard for me because I now live on my own. I have carers. But 15 days in Clay have been an absolute godsend. They have really helped me through all this. Janna came to the funeral for my husband. And my husband used to come here as well, so then everybody knew him. But I kind of come to a most wonderful place. It feels like family friends here. It feels like one big happy family.
So I take you've made a lot of friends here.
Yes, I have. Yeah. Yeah, sorry, because I lost my husband to cancer two years ago.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
But
just like one more thing, I want to say
absolutely.
thank you to Janna and Kate for all the helpers, because I don't know what I would do without them. They have really helped me, and I really want to thank them from the bottom of my heart. Sorry, I don't believe in not holding things back. I believe in if you've got something to say it. No, it's best to be honest and upfront.
I think another aspect that happened, which, we all talk about now, is well-being and the benefits of, being creative. So I think that became very clear early on, the sort of calming effect clay has on people, this sort of hand-eye coordination that can be improved, confidence is improved, physical benefits. I've done work with people who've had strokes, brilliant clay, for people recovering. So physio, it's just this extraordinary material that basically benefits everybody. I think because I'm like this sort of, lioness, I guess. I'm so protective of the guys and I'll fight to the death for them. And if I see that there's anything going on that I don't, that I believe is not just, or, I will fight. Now we've sort of moved into Poole rather than being sort of out in the countryside. That's made a huge difference because I think, again, you're constantly fighting the system, transport costs, how much people are allocated, with
Was
the
this
direct
at
payments.
Horton Lee, was that, sorry?
Yeah, we were there for 20 years and so we were sort of, in a beautiful setting, but, sort of things conspired that we had to leave. So I guess, again, that was a massive challenge because we've been there for so long. So, and that sort of environment, but, as it worked out, people actually prefer sort of being more central because then they can independently come by buses as well. They can walk here, it's closer. So I think, it's kind of, we're constantly evolving and, changing. Take our 20-year show. I think because we had to steward the show, I mean, to when suddenly all the artists turn up, you've got the private view, which, we have opened by the Lord Lieutenant, everyone adores him, and this place was packed and everyone gets certificates and you just watch the pride in people showing their work, talking about it. And I think also, sitting there, stewarding the show, watching people come in and getting emotional about the show. And just, and like, wow, this is incredible. And yeah, it is incredible.
So we'll talk about the struggling time. What would you say has been the peaks along the way? What has been those top moments, just like you were saying with the award ceremony? Has there been other times like that, or just quiet moments with some of them?
No, I mean, there's always, I think we're constantly trying to push it. And I think like with the work, with the exhibitions, we've got bigger and bigger and bigger. We've done more installation work. So I would say like highlights would be when we entered our 15-year show, The Gathering. So these 15 sort of life-size figures, all in 3 sections, and each person didn't know what the other person was doing. So it was a real risk. And we had this at the Lighthouse, and it was a brilliant show, but we then entered it for the first ever learning disability worldwide art competition. And we came second in the world. And I mean, the calibre of work was amazing. And this piece is now at a stately home in Yorkshire permanently. And, you know, that's real pride. And I'd say our 20-year show for me was, it kind of is shone beyond anything I could have imagined. You know, we had over 3,000 visitors. The feedback was exceptional. The guys ran workshops, you know, working with Swanage School, who did the film, Simon Green, a photographer, John Daniels, a poet. So we had this culmination, and the show was knockout. And I think also the calibre of the ceramics being made was the best we've ever done. Really, really challenging work, really large pieces. And it was just literally this conveyor belt. I mean, it was a year in the make of making firing. I mean, I was dreaming about firings, and it was a lot to do, but you know, that was an absolute high point. Same as like having Stuart and Fiona do their own Arts Council funded shows. Another high when the guys have done their qualifications. You know, there's been a lot, really. I think I'm constantly just looking forward rather than, you know, it's kind of, I never sort of really stop and go, wow. I think when we've got the recognition, I was asked to be a keynote speaker for the Bernard Leach Foundation, which is a real honour for the Centre for Ceramics in Cornwall. So to be able to talk about 15 days and what we do, and it to be respected by other ceramicists is key. And we are. And that for me, you know, the guys are artists, and that is, you know, for them to get that recognition is so important, you know. So that's, again, is one of my drivers. So no, there's been, you know, lots of highs, lots of lows. We just keep going. My wish list would be to have our own centre for ceramics, to have a space where we can have a gallery as well, where we can have a glazed room. We don't have to pack down every day. We can just have lots of space. Our own premises is an absolute yes, with an outside area as well. Several kilns, gallery, throwing area, maybe a little coffee shop there too would be really nice.
If you could sum up in 3 words, 15 days in clay, what would those words be?
Gosh. Exceptional, magical, happiness.
A great experience.
Absolutely bloody marvellous.
We're always looking for new volunteers. We're always looking for partnership work. If there's any medical professionals out there, we would love to work with you and show you the benefits of clay. We're always looking to open up to work with anybody else at all. Please follow us on social media. We're on Facebook. We're also on Instagram. And yeah, Sachi, if you're watching, we want to come to London, please, or any other London galleries out there, look us up, because we would give you a knockout show. Thank you. I would like to firstly thank everyone that comes, all the amazing artists. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. You know, you make my heart sing every day that I'm with you. And to our incredible volunteers. I mean, we wouldn't function without you guys. So you are the biggest hearted, just the most amazing people to know. We love you all.